The striker situation, we talk about it every week, but it's a situation that I think deserves talking about every week. And there looks like there has been some movement recently. We've been saying, will they go for Gyokeres? Will they go for Sesko? It seems in recent days that Sesko is now the main one. Fabrizio Romano is saying that there have been some positive contacts with his camp, but still no agreement on personal terms, no agreement with RB Leipzig over a fee just yet. Is this one of those ones that, the longer it goes on, the more you worry, or is it just a matter of time before, it's a case of when rather than if this deal gets sorted?
Oh, I don't think I'd ever say it's a case of when rather than if when it comes to this one. I think, my hunch is that it gets done, but it's impossible to say for absolute certainty. Obviously, we're seeing some links with Saudi Arabia with Sesko now, which I'd be absolutely stunned at. I know money talks at the end of the day and can sway anyone's thinking, but there's been a lot of planning put into Sesko's development, careful planning put into Sesko's developed by him and his team. And I'd be shocked if they sort of ripped that all up now at the age of 22 and sort of took the money and went to Saudi Arabia. But and I do wonder also if that's a very convenient sort of kick up the backside type thing for Arsenal, either engineered by Leipzig or even Sesko's people. Of look, there is other interest out there. Let's get this one done because it is beginning to drag a little bit. You're right, there is movement. I think for the first time since the end of the season, there's a very clear direction in terms of where Arsenal's sort of where they're heading when it comes to the striker, and that seems to be Sesko. But I would never say it's definitely going to happen. I think there's still a little bit of question mark over it. I think this is a crucial week from all accounts, from what I'm hearing. I think this is going to be a crucial week. Talks are very much sort of ramping up now with Leipzig to try and come to an agreement. Leipzig, as they have every right to do, are trying to get the best possible deal they can for their man. And I'd be surprised if we get to the end of this week and we haven't seen a bit of a, quite a clear sort of movement in terms of how this one's panning out.
Yeah, definitely. It's really interesting because when Andre Berta came in, we know he's a big fan of Victor Gyokeres. We all thought, okay, he's appointed. Maybe Arsenal will really push the boat up for Gyokeres. But now they've gone for Sesko, and looks like Man United are now making that push for Gyokeres. What do you think the main factors? Of course, Arsenal were pushing for Sesko last summer as well. It didn't happen. He signed a new deal, but there was always that feeling that he would eventually move on. For you, what were the main factors that have made Arsenal go in the Sesko direction as opposed to going down the Gyokeres route?
I think with Sesko, they've just put an awful lot of work into it for a long, long time. They've scouted him for such a long time that they've got, I bet the dossier is like this thick on the desk of the recruitment team in terms of him. So they've put an awful lot of hours, a lot of work into him. They clearly believe he has got the tools to become an absolute superstar. That's why they wanted him last summer. Couldn't get it. It's why they were willing to wait for him. It's why they've seemingly decided that this summer is again he is the guy to go for. When Berta came in, I'm sure there are other things discussed, like we talked about with Gyokeres, a striker that he's looked at in the past. But it doesn't surprise me that it's Sesko who seems to be the pick again, just because there is pretty much universal belief at Arsenal that he is going to be, a very, very top striker. And so I think they've just been happy to bide their time. And now hopefully this is the summer they get it done. So yeah, I'm not surprised that he's the guy they've gone down, the route they've gone down. I just think so much work and manpower has gone into scouting him and putting him in a position hopefully to get the deal done this summer, that while they've looked around at what the other targets are, none of them have really sort of dislodged Sesko as the number one choice. Well,
Yeah.
I say that, but if Alexander Isak was available, then I think we all know who the number one choice would have been.
Yeah, because I remember you saying that, your one fear if Arsenal went for Gyökeres over Sesko would be another Isak type situation where somebody else
Yeah.
picks up Sesko, he blossoms into one of the most lethal strikers in Europe. Now that it seems that they are going for Sesko over Gyökeres, do you have any similar fears if, Gyökeres goes somewhere else and Arsenal gets Sesko, or is Sesko deal just the perfect one in your eyes?
I don't really have any fears over that. I think Gyokeres could easily go to United and score a bucket load of goals, and then I'm really not looking forward to the whole. You can just kind of sense what's going to come every single time one scores and the other doesn't. It's just going to be this sort of online social media pecking order type thing. It's just, I can already see it coming. But I think if Arsenal choose Sesko, I think it's a sensible signing. Like I said, I probably would have sided just about Gyokeres just. But I think Sesko is clearly the most sensible signing of the two. So I think the fact that they seem to be pushing for that one shows they haven't been influenced by the outside noise and they've stuck to their guns. And if they're doing that, then it's kind of what you want your club to do because they're going for the player that they really, really want and they believe in, rather than maybe listening to outside noise and taking the more short term option. You know, we as fans can want that a bit more, but I think as a club you've got to be able to block that out and go with what you actually really believe in and what you've worked on and the recruitment and how you've sort of analysed everyone. And so I think it is the sensible signing of the two.